Today I'm talking about the KonMari Method and what sparks joy really means. I will be looking at 5 different scenarios. 1, what to do when you feel like something doesn't spark joy but you still need it, like a vacuum cleaner or saucepans. 2, what to do when you don't really like something but for sentimental reasons you just can't seem to let it go. 3, when something doesn't spark joy right now, but you think it might in the future. So for example, for clothes that don't fit right now, but you think they will soon. 4, when you don't love something, but you just can't afford to replace it right now. And then 5, when something does actually spark joy, but you have 11 bajillion of them, and that amount doesn't spark joy. It can really slow you down when you come up against these obstacles because you start agonizing over what to do and eventually you just give up because you feel confused, frustrated, and like it just doesn't make any sense. But instead of throwing in the towel, I will show you how to make a quick decision and then get on with it. Let's go! Hi guys, it's Laura from How to Get Your Shit Together, and I help you get organized, get motivated, and just generally lead a simpler, happier life. Now, this whole idea of sparking joy is something that I have touched on in some of my previous videos, but I still get questions about it all the time. So I thought I would do one entire video where I look at the definition of what sparks joy really means. Just before we jump into it, if you are looking for a KonMari checklist that has a detailed breakdown of each of the categories, then I have one. I have it linked in the description box below. So let's look at the 5 different scenarios that were mentioned in the intro and what you should do in each. The first is where you don't feel that something sparks joy, but you still feel you need it. So you have sent me lots of examples of these, generally cleaning or cooking tools and supplies, but also comfortable clothes, so baggy t-shirts, yoga pants, etc. When Marie Kondo talks about joy, she doesn't really mean it in the Western way that you or I might mean it. It's been a bit lost in translation, I think. Basically, joy means love or happiness, but also in the KonMari method, it means value. Things that positively impact your life, things that make your life easier in some way. So you may not love your vacuum cleaner, but it helps you keep the house clean. It is useful. It adds some value or benefit to your life. Utility, usefulness and practicality is a form of joy. So do you need it? Do you use it on a regular basis? Does it perform a really useful function? If so, it sparks joy. The second scenario is where you can't seem to let go of something even though you don't love it and you don't use it. The item may even bring back sad or painful memories, but you just can't part with it. So this is the sentimental category. It's for items that have a lot of emotion attached to them. In her second book, Sparks Joy, Marie Kondo talks about a more practical way to decide what sparks joy. If you find that you're struggling with the concept or you don't feel that little zing when you hold something. She recommends to list the items in descending order, starting with what makes you most happy and then so on down the line. And the advice that I normally give to people who are having that internal tug of war with sentimental items is very similar. Figure out which is less painful for you, saying goodbye to those items or keeping them around. Always do the thing that makes you most happy. It may not make you deliriously happy or even very happy at all, but if you feel more at peace keeping something, then keep it. If it's something that brings back bad memories, then put it all in a box, close it up, and put it somewhere out of sight, so in a dark corner of your attic or basement. You still have the comfort of knowing it's there without having to be reminded of those painful memories every time you see it. So if you've got 2 options, then go for the one that ranks higher on the sparks joy scale. The third scenario is for things that don't spark joy right now, but you think they might in the future. So some examples you have sent are clothes that don't fit right now, but you think they may, or things that don't spark joy for you right now, but as your kids get older, you think that you will be able to enjoy them with them. Put a deadline on it. Put it all in a box, put it out of the way, and if that deadline comes and goes and that stuff is still sitting there, then get rid of it. Don't even open the box, just donate it and let it spark joy for somebody else. By the by, that is also a very handy tip if you are hanging on to things with the intention of selling them. If you don't sell them by deadline day, then dump them or donate them. Your house is for living in, not for storing things in. If the joy you're expecting to feel doesn't materialize by the time you thought it would, it's okay to let that stuff go and make room for the stuff that actually does spark joy. The fourth scenario is for things that don't spark joy, but you just can't afford a new one. In her first book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, Marie Kondo says that if you have old, non-joy-sparking items, then replace them with new items that do spark joy. So if you don't like your bed, just buy a new one. All right there, Marie. We're not all best-selling authors, you know. We don't all have millions of books bankrolling all of these new beds. I also know that for a lot of people, going out and buying something new just because the old one doesn't spark joy, even if it still works, people find that very wasteful, particularly if they know that the old thing isn't going to be reused by somebody. In those situations, I would say, again, that it is fine to go with whichever scenario makes you most happy. If you feel more comfortable keeping something, then keep it. And when the time comes when you do have to replace it, then look for a joy-sparking option. But don't feel obliged to replace something if it's still working fine. Remember that joy is in utility too. The final scenario then is for something that does spark joy, but you still feel that you have too much of that particular thing. Says a lot about me that the only thing I can think of here is stationery. Again, look at what sparks more joy for you. The situation as a whole is not sparking joy for you, so you need to declutter until you find that balance between joy-filled items and joy-filled space to store them. I shared an example recently of 2 jackets that both sparked joy for me, but I didn't need both. It made me more happy to only own one of them. It's not about an item in and of itself sparking joy, it's about whether the ownership of that item sparks joy. It's about storage of that item sparking joy. It's about seeing that item every day sparking joy. So to sum it all up, joy isn't in things, it's in our relationship to those things. If they make us happy to look at or to use, or they just make us feel a little bit more comfortable or safer or less sad to keep them, then keep them. Measure an item not as a thing in itself, but on the value and benefit it brings to your life. If in doubt, always do what sparks more joy for you. And that is a wrap. Thumbs up if you agree that joy isn't in stuff. If you know someone doing the KonMari method, then share this video with them so that they know exactly what to do when they face these obstacles. If you'd like my KonMari checklist with a detailed breakdown of the items in each of the categories, then check the description box below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because I upload new videos every single Thursday with practical tips and advice to help you live a simpler, happier life. The button looks like this and you will find it down there. Until next time, gur míle maith agaibh, agus feici mé sibh se go luath. Slán!